Not all lessons come from books. Some arrive quietly, like a morning by the river or a question from a child. Today's story is about a simple stone and how it taught one boy the true meaning of value. Maybe it'll remind you of something too. Let's begin. On a quiet Sunday morning, with the sun rising slow and golden, a father and his young son made their way to the river, not far from home, a place they'd been many times before. The world felt still, like it was holding its breath. The kind of morning that lingers in your memory for years. They came to fish, but what they took home that day was something different. A question, and a lesson most folks never learn from a textbook. The boy, full of energy like boys tend to be, ran ahead along the riverbank. He picked up little rocks and tossed them into the water, laughing at the ripples they made. Everything about him said joy. Then, he stopped. Half buried in the soft, wet sand was a stone that didn't look like the others. It was round and smooth, like it had been polished by the river for a long, long time. And when the light hit it just right, it shone with a soft green glow. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't loud, but it was different. The boy bent down, picked it up, and stared at it for a while. Then he turned and ran back to his father. Curious. "Dad?" he asked, holding the stone up. "Do you think this is worth anything?" Wondering. "I mean, it's so pretty." Puzzled. "Why would it just be laying there with all the regular ones?" His father looked at the stone carefully, turning it in his hand. He smiled. Thoughtful. "That's a good question, son." Explaining. "Maybe folks passed it by because they couldn't see its worth." Proud. "But you did. That says something." Then the father had an idea. Thoughtful. "Tomorrow," he said, "I want you to take this stone to 3 places." Instructive. First, the farmer's market down the road. Then, the jewelry store in town. And finally, take it to the Natural History Museum. Sternly. "But don't sell it, just ask how much people would pay for it." Encouraging. "Then come home and tell me what you learned." The next day, the boy did just that. At the farmer's market, people barely glanced at the stone. One old man squinted at it and laughed. "Haha, I could use a paperweight, I guess." Indifferent. "I'll give you $1." The boy nodded politely, but inside, he felt a little let down. The next stop was the jewelry store. The man behind the counter took his time, studying the stone under a magnifying glass. "This is raw," he said. "Rough, uncut, but with the right care, it could be something valuable. I'd offer you $200. The boy was shocked. 200? That was more than he'd ever held in his life. But he remembered his father's words, so he thanked the man and walked away. Last, he visited the Natural History Museum. It was quiet inside, the kind of quiet that makes you whisper without even meaning to. A geologist took the stone and studied it carefully, turning it under a special light. After a long pause, he looked up, wide-eyed. "Young man, where did you find this? This is a rare mineral, one of those that takes millions of years to form deep underground. We'd be honored to display it here. We'd pay you $10,000. $10,000. The number echoed in the boy's head. That evening he ran home, breathless and full of wonder. "Dad!" he shouted. "You were right! Everyone saw the same stone, but they all saw it differently. At the market, it was worth $1. At the jewelry store, $200. And at the museum, $10,000! His father smiled gently. "That's the way life is, son," he said. "Sometimes people won't see your value at all. Some might see just a bit of it. But the right people, in the right place, they'll see all of it. The boy listened, quieter now, the weight of the words settling deep. You don't need to change who you are, his father continued, but you do need to be where you're seen, where you belong, because being in the wrong place can make you feel like you're worth nothing, even when you're something rare and beautiful. Maybe you felt like that stone. Maybe you've been overlooked or underestimated. But remember this, your value doesn't change just because someone else can't see it. Sometimes, it's not about being more. It's about being in the right place, with the right people, who recognize what's been there all along. So be patient, stay true, and keep looking for that place where your light is seen and your worth is never in question. And if this kind of story speaks to you, you're always welcome here. Subscribe and stay for the next one.